Good morning, boys. It's like midday right now. I missed my early morning wake up, but I ended up waking up at 9 a.m., which is terrible. And especially someone like me who preaches discipline, I knew I had to punish myself, so I went for a jog for like 40, 50 minutes. And while jogging, I had some ideas brewing for you guys. And so this video kind of targets those little worms that walk around in life thinking they're so smart and cool by not caring about anything, but they're kind of half depressed, and their days consist of just working a couple hours at a job or university, going home, just watching porn, eating terrible food that they know they shouldn't be eating at, and then no girl's attracted to them because they get even fatter and they have no self-control, and then they blame life. Oh dude, look at this guy, I don't have the Chad jawline or whatever this shit's called, Chad jawline. That's why I don't get any bitches. Well, I don't have any money because, dude, I wasn't lucky. I wasn't born. My parents never taught me that. Bro, do you think my parents taught me how to be disciplined? 2-3 years ago, I was literally waking up, like during the weekends. I can't even call it waking up because I was still sleeping. I woke up at like 10, 11 maybe on the weekends, just straight up scrolling on my phone, killing whatever diet it wasn't even a diet, obviously. I just bought myself some like croissant or whatever, some like carbs for breakfast, and then I was so tired that I went to sleep back again. That was me like 2020 up until 2020 to 2021. That's when I was like, fuck, I've changed myself. It was kind of as a result of a big breakup that I had, but I think that breakup for any man is an opportunity, and I don't think if anybody watching this is going through something, you should be grateful and use this as an opportunity instead of whining about it. But I get how hard it is. And so for this video, I want to talk about the state of depression, the state of not feeling purposeful and understanding, and feeling like you have nothing going on, and you don't really care if you live or not. You're just like living for the point of living. For this I wish I had one in real life, but I want you guys to imagine a slingy, like the slingshots that you guys use, or that every kid wants but you don't have it. So this is a slingy, okay? These are the arrows pointing up. This is when you stretch the slingy with some type of plastic thingy. You get what I mean. And when you let go, you shoot something in for a very short period of time. The plastic obviously oscillates in between. Now, depression, and I want you guys to understand this as frequency. When I pull it into a negative, uncomfortable, maybe sad, maybe angry state. And when you let go, just for that one period of time, it's going to stay positive, and then go back. And then it's going to oscillate in between if you don't do anything, if you don't pull it back again. This is how discipline works. You never ever stay in a positive state all the time. It has to oscillate. I've never ever met anybody, because I know that doesn't exist, who was in a positive state of mind every single day. Okay? There can be days where you're in a positive state for a month, very consistent, and then you fall back, depending on how much you stretch it. But people don't want to put themselves through that little stretch that's uncomfortable, that's stretching you, so they kind of let them go. They stay in that position, and then you look at their eyes, like usually throughout the day, they will never, you see the conviction that I have, they will never have it. They'll be like, dude, I had a friend like a year ago, we were playing, we used to play video games together for like 2-3 months. And dude, the guy, if you saw him throughout the day, was like this, like dead, like a zombie. There's so many people like that. You don't even know. Some people put a face mask on. This guy was transparent enough. He didn't care if he had a mask on. But most people are like that. They just put a nice mask above them. But the state of depression, or purpose, just basically the state of being without purpose and thinking, oh, I don't care what happens to me. My life's going shit. I don't care about anything. It is worse, 10 times worse than the state of being uncomfortable. And the state of depression, or this state of being like a zombie, just going through life, hating everything, you don't have a passion, you're like, whatever, okay, sure, you should do that. This is, by the way, the state that ends up killing people. This is the state that makes people commit suicide. Okay, so it is quite serious. people don't commit suicide because their life is necessarily hard. Of course, there's people like that as well, but most people have given up hope. They've let go of what life is. They've completely, their minds have wandered to a state where they don't think that there is hope at the end of the journey. Because I don't know if any of y'all have been there. Probably yes, like 99%. If you've been in the state, you know that it's not terrible. Like, you're not suffering, but you're suffering in a different way. So it's not that it's necessarily physically painful, but mentally you're mentally how do you call it, rotting. Your brain is rotting, and you know that, you feel that. You're like, every single day, whatever you do, same routine, whatever, feels even worse. Okay, so you always have to stretch the slingy. Your purpose in life should be to never have the slingy in this point, because this is inactivity, and biologically inactivity means death. Okay, so always make sure to stretch the sling as much as you can, make yourself suffer, and when you let go, because when the frequency changes to a positive state here, obviously it will oscillate back, but this is the way you do it. And you might be like, well, I have to be in a negative state more than in a positive. Yes. So what I mean by that is, you're not going to be happy all of the time, but you're going to be fulfilled. This is where fulfillment comes from. This is the topic that most people don't understand in discipline, but as a result, they're like, dude, I know life doesn't have meaning because I've analyzed, and they think they're so smart, right? These little people, you've probably met them before. Somebody here? No, you've probably met them before. They think they're so smart and they know everything. You ask them like, why are you depressed? And they're like, dude, like, I understand life is not, like, whatever. They think they're smart, right? So your point is, stretch it as much as you can, and you're like, oh wait, the more I stretch it, the more pain I'm gonna feel. Yes, that's the point, but the pain you're gonna feel is not the same type of suffering as this depressed state right here. The pain that you feel is, you find fulfillment in that pain. It's like when you're working out and you know your muscles are fucking hurting, and you're like, dude, like you feel the sweat running down your face, but you're like, the serotonin gets produced still. And the 5 to 1% of the people that find fulfillment in suffering, and they put themselves willingly through that, and they stretch themselves as much as they can, and oftentimes they don't even care about how much the outcome of the positive state is at. They stretch it as much as they can, and they just want to stretch it more and more. This is the type of people that always make it no matter what in life. I've never ever seen, met, or heard a person who make themselves suffer willingly through so much, never gave up, and then automatically wasn't excelling at whatever they did anyway. And then they're like David Goggins, for example, he's a multimillionaire, but he doesn't care about money. He doesn't have cars or girls or whatever you want to call it, because he just cares about stretching the band as much as possible. And the thing is, and you might be like, well, I don't really want that. I just want to, like, it feels scary and feels annoying. You're like, dude, like, fuck, like, I don't want to stretch it at all. Probably, and by the way, those people who feel that way are probably those who haven't really stretched it in the last couple of weeks. So their mind has kind of taken over in their discipline, literally how it works, okay? I always imagine something internally living inside my head, and they try to always take control of my discipline, habits, and my willpower. So in order to fight that back and keep that little virus or cancer tissue as small as possible and crush it, I have to do what I hate. I have to go against it and tell it, fuck you. Genuinely, how it works. That's how I imagine it, and it completely works. So stretch it as much as you can, and if you still think, dude, that's terrible, whatever, if you purposefully stretch it, if you stretch it for a specific outcome, okay? And by the way, I don't want to get off topic, honestly, but those of you who are like, dude, stretching, I don't even know if it's worth it, like, it hurts so much, I don't know, whatever, I get what you mean. I've been here, I was in your position where I was like, dude, like, I don't feel purposeful, I don't know why I should stretch it. But here's the thing. When you stretch it with purpose, then the pain you feel is not going to be making you suffer as much as you think you are right now. Those of you who stretch it with purpose, and they feel the pain, it makes them even happier. Not happy, happiness isn't the right word, but joyful, fulfilled. Okay, that's where these people, these monsters that roam around the world, the top 1%, 5%, whatever you want to call it, that's how they live life. And I knew I had to share this with you all because so many people think that there's only one type of suffering. And they think that when they're being depressed and they hate their lives, they're progressing and they're suffering. They're like, well, this is part of the hustle. I hate my life. I have no purpose, but this is part of... No, it's not. The part of the hustle would be you purposefully putting yourself through the pain, knowing that you want a specific outcome, knowing you have a reason to suffer. When you have a reason to suffer and you suffer, the suffering gets greater. You still feel the pain, but it's kind of like those of you who like eating spicy food, you know that it hurts, but you at the same time you derive joy from it. And if you're like, dude, but I've never felt that before. I'm not one of these people who can do that. Everybody's like that, okay? If you haven't felt it and you're like, you can't relate, it's completely fine. But that's not because you're some guy who can't feel it or because you're not built for that. It's simply because you haven't internally, you haven't served enough in your internal state to understand what's worth suffering for you. Some people, they want to suffer for their families to make them richer, wealthier, whatever, happier. Other people want to do that so they want to help the homeless. For example, a big reason why I feel a certain responsibility towards becoming the best version of myself and making money and striving for the best is because I know that I was blessed in a circumstance. And life's unfair. Life's very unfair. But guess what? If life was fair, I would be with those people suffering in war zones right now. Because they try harder than most of y'all. Those children who lost their parents, who are trying to survive. I don't know if y'all have seen clips like that. Probably not, because all you guys have on your Instagram is like little clips of like anime and little David Goggins motivation. Fuck your motivation. There's people, life's not fair, okay? And the fact that you're able to watch this video and stress about your future is a priority. It's a blessing. Those who are truly unlucky don't have legs. Those who are truly unlucky can't watch this video. Those who are truly unlucky don't even have access. They couldn't watch this video. They will never, and they will die without even having enough free time to watch this, okay? And where was I going with this? Will probably hit me back sometime later, but so keep stretching the band purposefully. Keep making yourself suffer, because you have to, in order to become great, you have to stretch something anyway. You will never ever, dude, some of y'all, and I understand, I was thinking like that too maybe a year ago, 1.5 years ago, where I was like, dude, what's the easy way? Like, what if I do this and I will make it in life, achieve the goals that I want with suffering minimally? But that is not the point, because those little crypto millionaires or people who still smoke weed, still watch porn, still have no control over... Bro, you can't even control your hand. When you're laying in bed, you can't even control what you do with your hand. So how do you plan to control a business? How do you plan to control people? How do you plan to control whatever life plan you're putting yourself through? So simply keep stretching the band. And if you don't have a reason enough to stretch the band, by the way, I always encourage action over just thinking. If you want to think, then think while you're doing the action. I don't think that, because most people fall into the trap of paralysis analysis. What was it? Analysis paralysis, sorry. Most people fall into the trap of analysis paralysis, where they think instead of taking action, they first need to take hours and hours analyzing and thinking, dude, this year I'm just gonna think. I'm gonna think about what to do. I'm gonna think about my circumstance, and then next year I'm gonna act. And the next year hits, they're like, fuck, my discipline is terrible, worse than the average person. So this year I'll think about more. I'll start small. Never happens. And then you'll see the same person 5 years along the line. You ask them, how are you doing? They're like, I gave up on my goals because that wasn't realistic. Okay, just keep putting the action first. Put the action first. And the thing is, the work. So there was a quote by Alex Hormozi. It goes, the answers you're looking for is in the work that you're avoiding. Something like that, very similar. But most of y'all just do the action, even if you're like, dude, I don't have a reason to do it, whatever. Once you keep doing it and you push yourself, the whole reason of you pushing yourself, you don't even need a reason. The reason should be you. You are the reason. You should be thinking to yourself, I am the reason, because the more I push myself, the more I'm progressing, the more I'm fighting that little tissue cancer inside me that wants to take over my mind. And then at the end of the time, once you've given into that tissue, you'll be like one of those people watching television, coming from home, your wife, you don't even have any type of sexual or romantic relationships with your life. You're just there. You're like, hey love, I made some fucking microwave chicken that you can have, microwave lasagna or some shit. And then you sleep, next morning, television, sleep, next morning. Doesn't that sound terrible? You should feel scared. You should be stressing when you think about the fact that in a year from now on, in 2 years from now on, you don't change at all. Imagine you look back, you're like, dude, 3 years ago, I was the same. I wasted those 3 years. Keep yourself accountable, boys. Hope this video helped. I usually have the greatest thoughts brewing for you guys when I put myself through the hardest times, where I put myself through things that suck and that seem without purpose. Just seems like, dude, why do I have to do this? I could just be home. I could just put a nice show, put my fire, how do you call it, like this? Fire cannon, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, just do the work relentlessly and don't even care about why you're doing it. Because the reason you should do it is not because you need to necessarily think about the shoes that you want to buy, think about the girl that you want to attract. That helps. You should be thinking about that as well. But the main goal, the very first priority is you. So you grow. Because without growing that to be that person who can handle that, you will never ever achieve anything that you would want to achieve anyway. Take care, boys. Keep working. I know that y'all, I always see this at the end of the video, I know, but I appreciate every single one of y'all who's watching. And although these videos are made for you, so you're benefiting through them more, I'm still very grateful and feel fulfillment through the fact that I know people comment and tell me that I've been helping them, whether it's on Instagram, YouTube. Yeah, my mom's calling me. Take care, boys. See you.